In the race to improve healthcare, we've reached a new technological frontier: gene therapy and genome editing. These state-of-the-art methods have great potential for changing our DNA's building blocks in order to cure or even prevent hereditary illnesses. As we learn more about genetic engineering, though, we are forced to consider the moral dilemmas that come with having such control over our own DNA. Make sure to press the subscribe button and enable push notifications if you want to get our fantastic content and become a part of our active community of like-minded folks. A fundamental concern regarding the limits of human interference in the essence of life sits at the core of the ethical discussion around gene therapy and genome editing. Proponents of these technologies stress their potential to eliminate genetic illnesses that have affected people and families for generations, so relieving enormous human suffering. They create a hopeful vision of a future where specific genetic treatments may improve the quality of life for those who suffer from chronic diseases. Envision a world where future generations are freed from the hereditary abnormalities that have plagued families for decades. Genome editing and gene therapy provide hope for eradicating many diseases once and for all by changing the genetic script. In addition to helping innumerable people and families, eliminating hereditary illnesses will help mold a better, more robust human future. Gene therapy and genome editing are a revolutionary step forwards in medicine since they can finally get to the bottom of the causes of hereditary diseases. We may now potentially interfere at the genetic level, altering the code that regulates our biological life, rather than just treating symptoms or reducing their repercussions. The ability to modify the human genome introduces a new age in medicine in which it is possible to eliminate hereditary disorders. However, there are ethical challenges to be faced within this sphere of potential and optimism. Some people are afraid that gene therapy and genome editing would lead to unexpected repercussions or even eugenics. They raise issues about our stewardship of the natural system and warn against the dangers of tampering with its very nature. The ethical discussion over these technologies requires thoughtful examination of our shared cultural norms. As much as we want to help those in need, we have a need to proceed with prudence and recognize everyone's intrinsic worth while implementing such initiatives. The correct balance can only be reached with the help of well-developed ethical frameworks that prevent the inappropriate use of these technologies and guarantee that medical need, not individual desire or social pressure, guides action. In addition, issues of accessibility and fairness need to be addressed. Gene therapy and genome editing, like any other medical advancement, has the potential to exacerbate existing socio-economic disparities by being predominantly accessible to people with privilege and money. It's crucial to make these technologies available to everyone who may benefit from them, regardless of where they live or their financial situation. The future we work towards is one in which genetic treatments spread their advantages fairly and do not exacerbate current inequalities. In addition, as we learn more about gene therapy and genome editing, serious ethical questions arise. Manipulating the genetic code confronts us with a complicated and potentially perilous ethical terrain. In light of these developments, consent, equality, and fairness must be given top priority. The issue of permission is essential to many ethical concerns. Should parents be allowed to make permanent changes to their children's genes? The persons whose genes are being modified may have legitimate worries about their own autonomy and future autonomy as a result of this. The claimed advantages of genetic treatments must be carefully balanced against the possible influence on individual identity, freedom of choice, and autonomy. Equity and availability are also a major problem. Gene therapy and genome editing have the same potential for genetic divide as any other groundbreaking medical breakthrough. Limiting access to these innovations to the wealthy will exacerbate existing disparities in society. To avoid further exacerbated inequalities and the emergence of a genetic haves and have-nots, it is crucial that people of all socio-economic backgrounds have access to necessary genetic therapies. The ethical issue over gene therapy and genome editing is complicated by the possibility of unintended repercussions. Despite efforts to eliminate hereditary illnesses, it is unclear what consequences these treatments will have on future generations. Potentially irreversible, the effects of tinkering with the human genetic code might have profound implications for what it means to be human. Given the stakes and the potential for unforeseen consequences on the web of life, vigilance is warranted. The ethical considerations surrounding gene therapy and genome editing go well beyond mere social and personal effects. They penetrate the foundation of the planet's ecological and biological diversity. While it's true that these tools are mainly designed for human genetic modifications, we can't ignore the impact they might have on ecosystems at large. As scientists continue to tinker with species DNA, we risk upsetting delicate ecological balances and triggering unintended consequences. Any changes to the genetic code of an organism that plays an essential function in sustaining the complex web of life may have far-reaching effects. There are many different dangers that might befall biodiversity. The potential for ecological disturbances and unforeseen repercussions is a cause for worry. Intentional genetic alterations to combat sickness may have unexpected effects on other characteristics or behaviors, with potentially severe ecological repercussions. The normal relationships between species might be upset, the existence of certain populations could be jeopardized, and ripple effects across the ecosystem could occur. In addition, nothing is known about how genetic interventions may affect biodiversity in the long run. To properly evaluate the possible effects of new technologies on ecological systems, extensive scientific study and risk evaluations must be conducted. In order to keep our planet healthy and resilient, we must take into account the interdependence of all forms of life. Gene therapy and genome editing provide complex ethical challenges that need careful balancing of scientific advancement and accountable regulation. It necessitates dialogues that are open and welcoming to all parties involved, including scientists, medical professionals, ethicists, politicians, and the general public. Our current choices will have lasting effects on the field of medicine. Thus it is in everyone's best interest to give serious consideration to the moral implications of emerging medical innovations. In summation, gene therapy and genome editing provide us with enormous ethical issues as well as unparalleled chances to confront genetic illnesses front-on. As we go forth into the unknown, we must behave with extreme care to maintain consistency with our core beliefs and to uphold the worth of every person we encounter. In order to fully realize the benefits of gene therapy and genome editing, we must adopt strong ethical frameworks, encourage honest communication, and maintain a heightened state of vigilance. We appreciate your time and attention as we delve into the moral questions raised by gene therapy and genome editing. Please join us in a thoughtful discussion about this difficult and divisive issue by posting your views below.